Hello, everyone. Thanks for the invite. Thanks our CIMIT friends. I am very happy to be here in this summit, especially for the anniversary of Mr. Borlaug. It's a very big honor for us to stay here. Our issue is what is the milling baking industries will need from wheat in 2025. And for this reason, I want to start talking about the world situation and outlook and our challenge to feed 8 billion people in 2025. Today, we are 7 billion people in the world, and United Nations forecast to 2025, it will be 1 billion more. And in 2050, it will be 9 billion more. In this graph, we can see in the 90s, the less developed regions were 22%, and in 2025, it will be 6% less. Our hope for 2025 is less poor people and increase the countries with more income. Our goal is increase the wheat production and then healthy food with qualify for all these people. We can see in this graph the relations in the income or the income relations versus consumer habits, and we can see the four in less developed regions, and it's very interesting to see that the higher income, the intake of animal protein and sugar increase while cereal intake decreases, and the lesser the income, the intake of cereal increase. For this reason, we need to preserve the cereal consumption habit, including the people with more income. I love this graphic. This is made for our people in our office, and it's very interesting to see the wheat consumption and the health expenditure relation. This graph shows us that the problem of the obesity is not related to wheat consumption. Reality, the increased consumption of wheat, lower obesity, and lower spending of health. And really, this is a very good sample because in Mexico we have problems with these situations about the obesity problems and policies with taxes and many things about the obesity. Okay, if we continue with the, I want to compare the area harvest and grain yield, and only because I want to say that wheat is the cereal with the highest superfice, but not with the highest yields. And this is a reflection only for say that it's necessary to promote research to increase with yields, considering the population growth. In other words, if I compare the production and consumption per capita cereal, we can see that for 2022, coarse grains, corn, sorghum, and millet continue to be the largest world production together, but currently, wheat is the most consumed cereal in the world for human consumption, and increase for 2022. In our country, the most important cereal is corn, but the wheat has the second place and is very, very near to the corn in production and consumption. If we compare the two main cereals, we can see the wheat cereal is more area planted, but corn yields are higher. It's very important not forget that international prices make and corn compete for land. And this is very important because we need to be clear about the difference in prices and risk and all these situations for take decisions for plant. If we talk of the world situation of wheat market in the last year, we can see the production in the order to 655 million tons, and the consumption in the order to 687 million tons. The imports in the order to 145 million tons, and the export in the order to 139 million tons. And the principal countries, or producers countries, and consumers, imports and exports. And this foresee the situation, the outlook to 2022, and we can see that the OCDE and FAO says that the production it will be or increase 20%, and the consumption 14%, and the imports in 3%, and the exports plus 8%. In the case of the consumption in Mexico, we don't agree with this estimate of the OCDE and FAO, because in our view, don't lessen consumption. In the Mexican wheat milling, we are sure that the consumption is increasing in Mexico 1.5 or to 2% in the annual average. If we see the relation to wheat production and consumption and stock, it's important to say that the international rates affect the wheat production and variety. The stocks levels and prices for 2022 could be similar to current levels. The same with the relation of wheat stocks and wheat prices. In some wheat importing countries like Mexico, high external dependency is observed, and the situation is we need to increase the production levels to achieve food security and provide certainty of supply to the domestic industry. The situation is the influence of the prices of the production is very, very important. Here in Mexico, the producers are looking for the price and then take the decision to corn or wheat or other corn cereal. If we talk the wheat importers and wheat food security, we can see the 11 most important countries in the imports countries, and this is the concept of food security. Only China, Europe, US, and US have the food security, and countries like Mexico, we have a biggest external dependence, and this is a problem because we need to increase production levels to achieve food security and provide certainty to supply of the domestic industry. If we see the production and consumption of durum wheat, it's very important to say that in the last years we can to observe the consumption and production of durum wheat have declined significantly. And this, I say this because the production by variety of wheat and consumption in Destiny is 95% of bread wheats and 5% only in durum wheats. In Mexico, we produce 2 million tons and, of durum wheat, and our human consumption is less than 1 million. We need to go to the feed and exports of this kind of wheat. In Mexico, our requirements of the milling industry in the last year, we have 88 milling plants. We have an installed capacity of 8.4 million tons, and our wheat consumption is in the order to 6.2 million tons. We produce flour and semolina in the order to 4.7 million tons, and I want to show that our total wheat production is in the order to 7.7 million tons, and we need to send to the export to the export sector 0.7 or 700 tons, and to the feed sector 700 tons. Mexico produce 56% of our requirements of the industry, in total 3.5 million tons, and the domestic milling industry consumes between 700 and 8,000 tons of durum wheat per year. The rest of the production is for export and animal feed. Mexico, for other part, imports 44% of the requirements of the milling industry, and our principal is from US, 71%, and Canada, 24%. France and Russia is not an usual origin for us, but Russia is looking for new market, and especially Mexico. Mexico depends of on foreign markets of red wheat markets. Local prices have an international benchmark, and the farmers in Mexico compare the price of durum wheat in relation to bread marking wheats, which limits to the culture change required to bread marking wheat industry. We need to increase the domestic production of bread wheat with similar characteristics to the imports. We import this kind of wheats from US and Canada principally. In Mexico, we have a famous phrase, sin maíz no hay país, no country without corn, and this is true. But the proximity in consumption and spending on people in corn and wheat products is very important. 49% in corn products and 40% in wheat products. In the same situation, the household spending in corn and wheat, corn tortilla is the principal percent of the corn, and corn and flour and dough 7%, and in the case of wheat, the principal is the sweet bread, and this is important because we can see it's important to be the flour tortilla and spaghetti, because 40% of the spending is for green pasta, which represents only 10% of in the wheat products, in the total wheat products. For this reason, Mexico needs to produce more wheat breads. If we see the market, especially the sales of industrialized products of wheat, we can see the flour, the flour sales, and in the last 6 years, in the period of the last 6 years, the sales increased 6%, and in the case of semolina, 33%. The sales of bread and pastries increased 9%, and in cookies increased 7%. The crackers decreased 2%, but this is not usual situation, and sweet cookies increased 9%. The spaghetti and pastas increased 11%, and the flour tortilla, increased 31%. I return to our issue. The future needs of wheat in the industry is very important to say that Mexico for the years 2025 and we will have a deficit in the order to 5 million tons, only attending the population growth. For this reason, we need to produce more bread wheats. If there are enough national production, should be followed importing. For this, the strategy of development of the wheat production chain is in 4 steps. For us, it's in 4 steps. First, increase in production, increase the domestic productions to achieve the level of food security in the production chain. Then, varietal outline. I mean, produce in base of the needs of the production and consumption. Third, the commercial productive model. We need models in Mexico for efficient commercialization of wheat in the market, for give the producers, the farmers, good conditions, and increase per capita consumption of wheat products and explore new markets niches. All this because the challenge is not today we import 68% of the needs. The domestic production is only 20% of the requirements of the bread marking wheats. In the future, we will have a deficit in the order to 5.6 million tons, and we have myths about the nutritional values of wheat, obesity, and effects of gluten. The challenge to 225, increase domestic production of bread-making wheats and consolidate the wheat as the basis of a healthy diet. Thank you very much, and I'm sorry for my English.